We're casting combos and punching the player seated to our left. That's right, it's Lightseekers TCG from PlayFusion. This probably sounds great on the mic.
All good?
This cunning and crafty card game pits 2 or more players against one another in a fight for elemental domination. Before gameplay, each player needs a deck of cards. Today we're showing off the starter decks featured in the base set of the game. Each deck is themed by an element and composed of 1 hero card, 30 action cards, and 5 combo cards. The elements of the game include Astral, Dread, Mountain, Nature, Storm, and Tech. Each represent 1 color of card in the game. Beyond the starter decks, which are comprised of 1 color each, there are hero cards that allow you to play multiple elements in a deck. Setup begins with the handy player mat set in front of each player. Set that deck in its slot and place your hero card within the frame that says Hero. Depending on the starting health of your hero, located on the bottom right of the card, place the hero health counter on the mat's value. As other players join the table, the player to your left will become your target, and the player to your right will become your enemy. If you're playing a 2-player game, your opponent will be both of those. During gameplay, everyone will take actions to attack their target and defend against their enemy, and just generally stay alive as long as possible. Once your target's health is reduced to 0, they are removed from the game, and the next person on their left is your new target. This continues until only 1 champion remains. Me. Randomly decide the first player, who will draw a starting hand of 4 cards. The second player draws 5, the third 6, etc. Each player then takes a turn, split into 3 phases, and play passes clockwise. The first phase is known as the buff phase. This is where you resolve all buff cards on your board. Buffs are special lingering spells and allies that can persist through turns. The duration is marked by the top left corner of the card. If that corner is empty, the card is permanent and remains in play throughout the game. However, corners with the circular rotation symbol rotate during the buff phase, and cards with an edged rotation symbol only rotate when their effect is triggered. Either way, if a rotating buff ever reaches an empty corner or returns to its starting position, the buff has expired and is discarded. Corners with X's mean ignore that card's effect for the turn. Next up, the action phase. Players can either play a combo or perform up to 2 actions. Actions include card abilities or playing a single action card from their hand. In order to play an action card, the player must have access to the elements listed on the top of the card. Each hero has a range of elements on their user portrait. Silver bordered elements can mean the type can be used once per turn, and the superior gold means no restriction. Action cards come in 4 unique flavors. Attack, used to damage your target. Defend, used to heal and protect your hero from the enemy. Buff, which go into the buff field for their duration. And Item, which are equipped to heroes. Each hero can only hold up to 2 points worth of items, the weight of which is located in the lower left. In addition to abilities, the items have an element symbol that adds to the hero's available elements each turn. Abilities listed on certain cards can be activated if the elements are available. Combo buff abilities and hero abilities are free. No duplicate abilities or action cards can be played in the same turn. Combo cards take the entirety of a player's action phase, but they're worth it. In order to play one of these combo cards, the hero must not only have access to all the elements listed, but the player must also pay the cost in elements with other cards in their hand. These cards are then shuffled back into the player's deck. Now, these cards can be super powerful and can turn the tide of a game very quickly. Lastly, in the draw phase, players draw cards from their deck equal to the number of unused actions during their action phase, and if a combo card was played, you just draw 1. As players start dying horrifically at the hands of their friends, they're removed from the game, and the person that killed them gains a slight bonus towards their goal. Each player that eliminates their target receives 1 victory point, 5 health, 5 cards from their discard shuffled back into their deck, which is pretty awesome and prolongs your game even more. Gameplay continues until players are removed by either having 0 health or running out of cards in their deck. If a player runs out of cards to draw, they can stall a little bit by discarding a buff item or a card from their hand. But if they have no cards to discard, they're out. The player with the most victory points at the end of the game wins. And that's Lightseekers. I'm Becca Scott, and I'm somewhat skeptical of astrology. You can watch me play this game and other awesome games with my friends on Game the Game right here on Geek and Sundry. I'll see you there.